Oh, damn. There's a lot to go through. I'm not going to lie. I don't know if we can cover all of this in one video. This is a huge update coming out on the 18th of November, the day of releasing this video. It's 10.6 gigabytes on my Steam, and I don't think we can cover this in one single video, but this is a... I've just been scrolling there for like 5 seconds. You know, I don't think we can cover this, but listen, I'll try. I'll ping through all some notes and some big things that I picked out, and we'll see what they've done. Right, here we go then. So one of the biggest things that they've announced this already as of last week. It's been in the public test servers as well. They got the new weapon, the Void Gauntlet, which we know about now. We've like I said, we've known about it for about a week. A lot of different things you can work on with this, which is pretty good. It's not just gonna be... There's some minor healing aspects in there as well, and there's some DPS in there. I think it's gonna be pretty good to try and work on this weapon. I'm interested to get my hands on one in the next couple of hours once the servers go live, and we can, you know, we'll see what we can do with it. We'll see what kind of we can match it up with. I'm gonna guess like a life staff would probably be pretty good to go with, or maybe even a fire staff, but until I get my hands on that weapon properly, once this patch comes out, we'll have a look. So we all know about the new weapon. We all know about the new enemies as well. The Vangarian Knights. So these guys are coming in. Nice couple of screenshots of them here. They're looking pretty good, so we're gonna have to check those out. It's good to see new weapon variations in the game as well, because we all know that New World just doesn't have that many in there, so it'd be good to get them in there. Right, let's have a look. So, world experience. They've added starter zone visual variety improvements. So listen, I'm not going to read out all of these, but I'm going to try and pick out a couple that I think are like slightly key ones. For example, movement speed bonus of 10% whilst traveling on the roads. That's not too bad, especially if you're in, like, for example, Everfall, and you're doing the PvP faction run of missions. There's a lot of that you can run on road, and it just gives that a little bit of a boost in speed. That's not terrible. They've added a plus 10% luck bonus and a plus 30% gathering luck bonus to players flagged for PvP. Now, I think this is pretty obvious. I think why they're doing this. I've found that there's almost no... I'm on the Bifrost server in EU. It's a pretty full server. Between the peak hours of European times, we do have small queues still in our server, so we do have an active server, but we don't see much open world PvP. Occasionally there'll be a bit when it's very obvious that one faction is trying to take the PvP missions in a certain town, but other than that, you don't really see it. So I think adding things like this, some people with the 10% luck might add this when they're doing their elite chest runs, trying to get their watermark up. So that could be pretty big. You might see a lot of open world PvP there, possibly. And plus 30% gathering luck as well, while to flag for PvP. I'm currently in the midst of making a shit ton of tier 5 bags, so I need a lot of this basic stuff that I need to pick up. So the plus 30% is pretty nice. Let's have a look. What else have they fixed here? So, several issues in expeditions that allow players to attack enemies without getting hit, or heal teammates without being in an encounter. All these kind of dodgy things. Listen, I'm glad that they fixed all these things. It's nice. I very, very luckily am one of the players who doesn't come across many of these huge bugs that we see inside expeditions, but it's good to see that they fixed them. Onto quests, they've got new PvP faction missions added. They've got control points. Intercept, which is defeat enemy faction members and collect their tiers, and war camp loot, retrieve hidden plans at the enemy's war camp. So these are to mix up the three that we have at the minute. So that should make running the PvP missions a little bit more fun. I don't know whether this is going to be reducing or adding time that it's going to take to try and farm the PvP point in a zone when you're trying to like declare a war and stuff. So we'll have to have a look at that. But there's a lot in there. There's a lot in there. Right. So in World Tech, they've noted notable bug fixes. They fixed an issue causing certain AI to spawn more frequently than intended. Okay. I've had this. In fact, you know what? I've had this like a million times. The amount of times I've been doing you know, leveling up quests before I got to 60, and I've just got things spawning all around me. It's an absolute nightmare. They fixed various issues that could occur when interacting with the journal entries scattered across the world. They fixed issues with town project boards failing to refresh. This is a big one, especially if you're on those grinds. And PvP experience bonus will no longer apply when in an expedition. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Right, onto combat. They got some consumables that they've updated here. Fix the bugs where it allows the well-fed buff to stack from different tiers of types of food. The most recent instance of the buff will now replace the previous versions. And they've fixed a bug that prevents weapon coating items from being consumed properly when used. Okay, so there's some minor bugs there with the combat that they fixed, which is nice. Gear perks, there's so many in here. Honestly, for this video, it's going to be a really awkward video because I'd like to bring out all the updates, but there's just so many to read out. It's absolutely crazy. At some point during this video, if you're not going to go onto the page yourself, you could just pause and ping through a few of them yourself, but there's just so much in here. The equip load, increase the healing bonus of light equip load from 20% to 30%, and increase the healing bonus for medium equip load from 10 to 15. That's not too bad. I do see a lot of healers running around in heavy, so trying to get them back into light is going to be a strange move. We'll see, especially in PvP anyway. We'll see if they go back to that. In duels, they have fixed an exploit by preventing gathering while in duels, so players can no longer duel to avoid durability damage while gathering. All right, bit of a strange one. I don't know who's been doing that. Attribute threshold bonus, reduce the damage reduction provided by the 250 constitution bonus from 80% down to 60%. Okay, they fixed the bug that caused the 250 con bonus cooldown to trigger on a blocked hit, and they have fixed a bug that was preventing players from dodge cancelling out of attacks during the ability recovery window when the 250 strength bonus was active. There's some strange little ones in there that I think unless you were running that kind of build, you probably wouldn't notice. In the dodge, let's have a look. So they fixed some issues causing two-handed melee and magic staff dodge rolls to have a smaller invulnerability window than the other weapon types. So this is like bringing everybody a lot closer together. Then there's going to be a lot less of these like mini kind of micro exploits, I think you would probably call them. They fixed inconsistent cancel timings between dodges of different weapon types. A bug which could cause a backwards dodge to result in a small teleport. Nice. And an issue that caused players to not take damage from an AoE if they dodged into the affected area. Okay. Let's see what they've done to wars. Structures are now immune to buffs and debuffs that logically wouldn't affect the siege weapon and deployable structures. The disabled player collision on infernal traps due to players occasionally getting stuck in them, and they've made it so players can't deal damage to other players with weapon abilities through fort gates and war camp gates. Okay. Outpost rush, I know this is one that once they re-added some outpost rush over a week ago, that brought a lot of players back, especially into our server. Let's see what they've done with that. They've reduced the power of battle bread from plus 15% damage and defense to plus 5% damage and defense. Okay, it's a bit of a chunk down there. Reduced the damage reduction on the Baroness buff from 25 to 15%, and then they reduced the damage and defense on the Commander tent from 5, 7.5, 15 to 3, 6, and 9. Okay. Big bug fixes. They fixed the backstab bug that caused backstabs to trigger when attacking players from the front. On block, they fixed that caused some weapon mastery passives that state they trigger on block trigger against unblockable attacks, and then they fix some cooldown timers as well when swapping weapons on unequipped gear. Okay, that's not too bad. Now, so with these, once we get to weapons, there's just almost every single weapon has had updates here, and I think the best thing to do is to either click on the patch notes, which will be in the description box down below, or just like pause the video as we're going through, and then you can read your own. I'm gonna check on some of the ones that affect me, because at the moment I'm running with a bow and spear build, so I'm gonna check out what has been changed on the bow and spear. But as you can see here, there is there's just so many updates that they brought into this patch. It's gonna affect almost every single weapon, almost every single build that you can imagine. So I think the best thing to do is get to your build, get to your weapons that you're using, and check them out. So for the bow, let's have a look. What have they done? Bow primary attack. Fixed issues that allowed consecutive primary attacks to be fired faster than intended. Updated descriptions for rain of arrows, poison shot, and splinter shot to indicate that they cannot headshot. Yeah, this is like a bit of a big one. So they don't cause headshots, but I'll see exactly how much damage that changes, but we'll see when we test that later on today. Fixed an issue with several bow abilities not benefiting from increased damage from higher tier arrows. Nice. This is what I like to see. I don't really use higher tier arrows often. Mostly I would use them probably in like PvP or in like the level 60 dungeons, but other than that I just run around with the basic arrows because there's not a lot of difference. They fixed evade shot. Let's have a look. Oh no, sorry, with evade shot they put go the distance. This upgrade now applies haste at the end of the ability rather than at the start, so that the buff duration is not partially lost during the skill animation. Okay, now with poison shot, they've reduced the cooldown of poison shot from 35 seconds to 30 seconds. Okay, not bad. 5 seconds is always nicer. Fixed an issue that could cause poison shot to go on cooldown without the ability being fired. What? That would annoy me so much. Rapid shot. They've reduced the cooldown from 20 seconds to 14 seconds. Rapid accuracy. Fixed an issue where this upgrade would not reduce the cooldown if the last arrow of rapid shot killed the enemy. Now with Rain of Arrows, Rain of Arrow no longer hits enemies through doors. Okay. With the passives, they fixed an issue where hip firing with the bow was triggering the heightened precision passive from the musket ability tree. What? Like, just I don't even know what to say to that one. Do you know what I mean? We'll head down to spear because obviously this is the other weapon that I'm using at the moment. Our goal was to buff and adjust some of the lesser used abilities to make a wider selection of abilities feel viable. So they've adjusted the distance the player moved towards the target when doing a heavy attack. The heavy attack was pulling the user too close previously, resulting in the deadly reach passive not being able to trigger consistently. With sweep, let's have a look. Increased damage scaling from 100. Well, it's on Coup de Grace. Increased damage scaling from 125% to 150%. That's quite nice. This attack is now flagged as heavy, allowing it to trigger heavy related passives. Nice. With the skewer, they've increased bleed damage from 10% to 20%. With Porphyry, they've increased damage scaling from 70 to 80, and they fixed a bug which causes a passive continuous motion to not reduce the cooldown of Perforate. Okay. Now, Cyclone is one that I used to use originally in my build, and then I completely got rid of it. It was okay. It was a nice little AoE attack, but it didn't do anything crazy. And they've increased the scaling from 110% to 130. That makes it a little bit better, but nothing crazy. Vault Kick I do like using. They fixed an issue where Vault Kick's cooldown began 1 frame before the hitbox would appear. This resulted in the ability going on cooldown if the attack was interrupted early, even if it didn't hit. So, okay, some nice little updates. I mean, again, at any point you can just pause the video here and you can read out your weapons. I heard that Rapier is going to be a lot better after this update, so I do have, I think, level 16 Rapier, so I'd have to finish that one off. But it looks like there could be some decent upgrades to Rapier, so we'll have to check that out one. Potentially like a little bit of a meta swing there, potentially, but I'll have to test it myself to find out. So with the AI, what have they improved? They got new AI enemies, new lost enemies, withered Swarmancer, withered beetle, lost shaman, and lost alligator pets. Ancient Guardians, Skeleton Mages, Corrupted Villager updates. The strong Corrupted Laborer has put down his pickaxe and picked up some weight, now looking larger than ever. Villagers have had their attack sets reviewed and reworked to better differentiate them. Nice, okay, that makes a little bit of you know, a little bit of increases there. Now again, with the bug fixes and the AI tuning, just look how much they've changed. This is absolutely crazy. I mean, I say crazy, it's good crazy, but there's just so much. I honestly could not read all this out in one single video. I think we're already getting towards 15 minutes on this video, and there's just so much to update. It's crazy. To read them all out would just be daft. But there's a lot in there. So again, the description box down below, we'll have the link to this, or you can just pause the video at any point. Now, a lot of expeditions that they've updated here. The Amrine excavation, depths they've updated. Dynasty Shipyard, one of my favorites. It's one of the easiest ones that you can just essentially run all the way through it, so it will be good to see what they've changed there. Garden of Genesis, I think I've run that once. Blighted Greenskeeper, Lazarus they've updated as well, so we'll have a look on there. Arena bosses, they've updated a few of these as well. The economy progression and loot, we'll actually have a little look at these. So faction change cooldown has been reduced to 60 days, down from 120. So every 2 months now, you can change your faction. Again, on Bifrost server, we're looking pretty good. The greens only have 1 or 2 areas. I think yellows have quite a few. I think they have a little bit more than purples now. But it's a fairly well-balanced area. If we were to see a few yellows and purples go down to greens, will that make it a lot more of a like 33% split on the server? Probably. So I think this is good that you can change that. Repair kit weight has been reduced from 2 to 0.1. We felt 2.0 was too heavy and 0.1 is not very heavy at all. Oh, really? Good one. It should be easy to keep a few at the ready in your back pocket. That is true. Added the item chunk of consecrated iron to the top rank of the faction shop for all factions. Chunks of consecrated iron are used to craft the resilient perk for armor items. Okay. So economy, now this is a huge one. All trading posts have been linked. Now I discussed this on the last video for anyone who's seen that. This could change so many things, good or bad. It's good for if you're a buyer, because the amount of times I've been like out in the sticks somewhere, far right of the map or far left, nowhere near Everfall or Monarchs, and you need to buy something for a certain quest or a hand in or whatever you need, and there's nothing there. So you've got 2 options, or you got 2 or 3 options. You either don't buy the item if it's not available, or you can buy the item, but it's like 3, 4, 5 times the cost as what it would be in, say, Everfall or Monarchs. Or you've got to then use your Azoth to travel all the way there and then all the way back again, which means wasting all your Azoth, or obviously manually running. So there's quite a few options there, but I don't know. So this is good for buyers. If you're going to be buying things, it's going to be so much easier for you. If you're going to be a seller, I'm going to imagine that the average price of items that you're going to be selling is probably going to come down a bit in certain areas, because it's not going to be as hard for players to then buy them from somewhere else for cheaper. So we'll have a look. So both the listing tax and purchases tax will be paid to the territory where the buy or sell order was listed. So what's going to be really good about this is just go to your faction area, your faction zone. Like if you own Everfall, go to Everfall, whatever, right? And make sure that you list it there. Because if you list it there, all of the listing fees go to your faction. Obviously, when you sell the item, it will go to whatever faction area that it's going to sell to. So if you're going to be buying items, also make sure that you go to your area, you go to your zone, and you buy it from there. Does that make sense? So if you're selling an item, make sure you sell it in your owned town, your faction town. And if you're buying an item, only buy items when you're in your faction town, right? Because then that way your faction town will gain the most amount of sort of gold from that. Item listed in sell orders that expire are returned to the settlement from which they were posted. It is no longer possible to place items on the trading post for 28 days. The maximum is 14. I've never posted anything for 28 days, so that's fine. Reduce the durability loss from PvP deaths by 10%. Okay. They've reduced the quantity of honey gained from a period by 50%. The amount of milk from cows by 65%. Okay. The honey trees are unaffected by this out in the wild. That's fine. The bees and cows are happy about this change. I bet they are. And housing taxes are now due every 7 days instead of 5. No change to cost. So players will gain 2 days of housing time without an increase to their taxes. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Now with progression and trade skills, we've heard about this in the last updates. The amount of XP that's going to be needed is going to be higher, but then obviously so long as you're crafting the correct tier of item that you're on, so if you're now up to tier 3 in whatever your crafting area is, for example, like I'll just use smelting, they now want you to be smelting tier 3 goods, not going back and spamming tier 1 goods. So you'll now get less XP if you're on tier 3, just as an example, and you start crafting tier 1 items, you get a lot less XP. But if you start carrying on crafting the tier 3 items, you'll get a ton more XP, and it won't be too bad. So yeah, there you go. Loot and rewards, they'd added several new named items as special drops from named knights found in the world. Knights that are quest targets don't have special drops. They've added a new style of weapon that drops from the knight enemy type. Rook's defense tower shield has now a tower shield appearance instead of a kite shield appearance. So this is all good. So they've added some loot and reward. Notable bug fixes. Again, look how many. Anybody who says that like Amazon Games has like they've released a really bad game, and they have. Like, there's been a lot of problems with this game, but just look how many things that they are fixing. Look how quickly they're fixing them. You're not waiting 6 months for a fix. You're not waiting a year for a fix. They are fixing, from what I can tell, a huge chunk of the issues. They do then cause some other issues, but most of the time they're fixing all of these issues here. So this is really good. Again, at any point you can just check out this list yourself, or you can just pause it and you can read all the way through these. There's just so many. Streamer mode updates. Again, I do stream this on Twitch, so we'll see what they've done here. Players can now individually block company invites, group invites, friend invites, coin transfer, trade quests, duel requests, and chat direct messages. Okay. Choosing the full do not disturb will turn off all incoming notifications, and they've added notifications to the sending player to let them know that invites and requests are blocking when sending the player actively using streamer mode. Okay, fair enough. So nothing crazy there. Notable bugs. So they're listing a ton of bugs here again. There's just so many to read all the way through, but they are listing bugs that they've come across and bugs that they're going to be working on, which is all good. And as you can tell here, this is crazy. Our team includes these additional fixes into the Void update. They fix an issue where chests in Lazarus where chests in Lazarus instrumentally and Garden of Genesis were not properly contributing to the higher watermark system. Oh, that's good. They fixed issues preventing gear score 600 Arcana weapons from being crafted. Tier 5 weaponsmithing pants now drop from the named enemy entropy, which enables players to complete their full set of weaponsmithing apparel, and increased coin gained from expedition bosses starting in Starstone by 25%. That's not too bad, and ramping up to endgame expedition bosses, granting an additional 100% coin. Again, not bad. But yeah, so guys, there you go. There are all of the, I mean, again, we couldn't read them all out in this video. This video is going to be like 20 odd minutes long. For anybody who's made it to the end of the video, you're an absolute legend. I would say go through all these updates yourself, especially the weapon update as well, especially if you're a huge PvP player, because the amount of updates that they brought out to each weapon is just crazy. So you'll definitely want to make sure that you know, if you're trying to min max or whatever, that you're hitting all of your all of the amount of DPS that you think you're going to be doing, or the amount of healing you're going to be doing, or whatever it is, right? So I'll definitely check out all of these. But this is a huge patch. Like I said, it's 10.6 GB for me on Steam. There's just so much to throw out there. But again, guys, if you made it to the end of this video, well played. If you've got any you know, comments on any of this, or any thoughts, or anything you do like or dislike, make sure you pop a comment in the section down below. Drop a like on the video, drop a sub on the channel. We're going to be bringing out more videos eventually. I'm just trying to find out a theme for the type of videos I want to bring out from New World, other than obviously just checking out all the updates. And again, if you want to check me out on Twitch, my Twitch is obviously twitch.tv/just Liam H. Okay, Liam H, LIMH. That's all you gotta search, right? Liam H on Twitch, and you'll come across me. But yeah, cheers for watching this video, and we'll catch you in another one.